It was a freezing winter evening in Chicago, the kind of cold that bites right through your clothes and settles deep in your bones. People were rushing home, heads down, their breath turning to mist in the icy air. The streets, usually bustling, were quiet, and the wind cut through everything like tiny shards of glass. Amidst this hurried retreat from the cold, Daniel, a 34-year-old office worker, just finishing another long, draining shift. He pulled his scarf tighter, the rough wool scratching his chin, and hurried toward the bus stop, his mind already on a warm cup of tea and the comfort of his couch. But then he saw him, a man sitting on the cold metal bench of the bus stop, shivering uncontrollably. He was wearing nothing but a thin t-shirt and a pair of worn-out jeans, completely exposed to the brutal Chicago winter. Daniel paused. He watched as others walked past, their gazes fixed forward, pretending not to see the man's suffering. It was easier that way, wasn't it, to just keep moving? But Daniel couldn't. Something in his heart wouldn't let him. He took a deep breath and walked over to the bench. He knelt slightly, trying not to startle the man. "Hey man," he asked softly, his voice full of genuine concern. "You okay?" The stranger looked up, his eyes tired and distant. He managed a weak nod. "Yeah, just a bad day." The words were barely a whisper, carried away by the wind. In that moment, without a second thought, without weighing the cost or the consequences, Daniel did something incredible. He started unbuttoning his own jacket. It was a heavy, warm brown coat, the kind you save up for months to buy, the kind that feels like a shield against the world. He gently took it off and draped it over the stranger's trembling shoulders. The man's eyes, which had been so vacant just a moment before, suddenly filled with tears. They welled up and spilled down his chapped cheeks. "No one's ever done that for me," he said, his voice cracking with an emotion so raw it caught Daniel off guard. Daniel just offered a small, reassuring smile. "Stay warm, all right," he said simply. And with that, he turned and walked away, melting back into the stream of commuters, never expecting to see that man or his favorite coat ever again. He felt a little colder without his jacket, but his heart felt inexplicably warm. Hours later, Daniel's night took a sharp, terrifying turn. To get home a little faster, he decided to take a shortcut through a dimly lit alley, a decision he would soon regret. The alley was slick with black ice, hidden beneath a fresh dusting of snow. Suddenly, the quiet was shattered by the screech of tires. A car going way too fast for the conditions came speeding down the narrow lane. It hit the patch of ice, and the driver lost control. The world seemed to slow down. Daniel froze for a split second, a deer in the headlights. And then everything went black. When he opened his eyes, the first thing he felt was the biting cold of the pavement against his cheek. Snowflakes were falling on his face, melting into cold water. A bright light flashed over him, and a frantic voice cut through the ringing in his ears. "Hang on, don't move. I've called for help." Daniel blinked, trying to clear the fog from his vision. A face leaned over him, silhouetted against the harsh light. As his eyes focused, he felt a jolt of recognition. It was him, the man from the bus stop. The stranger, whose name Daniel didn't even know, had been walking by the alley's entrance when he heard the crash. He ran over and immediately recognized the face of the man who had shown him such profound kindness just hours before. Without a moment's hesitation, he dialed 911. He then carefully dragged Daniel away from the still-spinning car, making a makeshift pillow for his head and talking to him, keeping him conscious until the sirens grew louder and the flashing lights of the ambulance painted the alley red and blue. The paramedics worked quickly, stabilizing Daniel. One of them looked at the stranger and said, "You saved his life. Another 5 minutes out here and he would have lost too much blood." When Daniel finally woke up, the sterile smell of the hospital filled his nostrils. The beeping of a heart monitor was a steady rhythm beside him. His head throbbed, but he was alive. He turned his head slowly and his eyes landed on a chair beside his bed. And there, hanging neatly over the back of it, was his heavy brown coat. Pinned to the collar was a small, folded piece of paper. With a trembling hand, Daniel reached for it. He unfolded the note and read the simple, handwritten message. "You gave me warmth when I had nothing. Today, I gave it back. Mark." Daniel clutched the note, the paper crinkling in his fist as tears streamed down his face. They weren't tears of pain. but of overwhelming gratitude and awe. Life has such a strange, beautiful way of coming full circle. It has a way of returning what you give out into the world. One simple act of kindness, given without any expectation of reward, can come back to you when you least expect it, and sometimes when you need it the most. It's a reminder that we are all connected, and the warmth we offer to others will always, always find its way back to us. So, the next time you see someone in need, remember Daniel and Mark. Remember that a small gesture can ripple outwards and create waves you can't even imagine. Thank you so much for watching and for being part of our community. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more content that we hope will inspire and uplift you. Stay kind, and we'll see you in the next video.